Okay. Back again. Let's try this again, man.
Never crossed the bros less I'm ballin' on that court.
Hey.
Didn't make it to the league, but now rapping is my sport. Stack the money tall, make sure we never come up short. Couldn't do this by myself, I thank the squad for that support.
Gang.
Been some setbacks, but ain't nothing I can't handle.
Hey.
Gotta take some risks, they say life is a gamble. I can
Yo.
Didn't even rockin' camo. Ain't seen Penny
Yo.
in Orlando.
Thank you for the extra vibe,
man,
sir.
look at here, getting closer.
Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Club podcast. I am your boy Cardell, a.k.a. Pedialyte Poppy.
I am your other host, Zach, a.k.a. Podcast Poppy. First things first, shout out JP. That sounded phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
One more bomb drop for my guy.
Shout out to the squad.
Also, I want to take a chance to thank everybody for liking, subscribing to the Gentleman's Club Podcast YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell to get notified when we upload new content, which is every Tuesday and Friday, with the exception of last week because, you know, Zach fucked up. Zach fucked up again because we're just going to talk about it right now.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Fucking didn't hit the record button. Been talking for 10 minutes for no fucking reason.
Oh, yeah. And it was a great intro. Everything went perfect, but we're professionals, so we can do this all over.
Yeah, we can make it look like we didn't drop energy at all. And you're never gonna know.
Right. So, how was your weekend, man?
Weekend was phenomenal.
Okay.
So real quick recap. My birthday was a week ago. I told everybody I didn't want to do nothing. I just wanted to be, grumpy old man status, and I was allowed to do that. So
we respected those wishes.
I was super, super thankful for that.
Right.
Last night was date night with the wife. We
told you need to get back to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. We needed to do it. It's been a while. We actually hadn't had a date night since we got married a month and a half ago. So that was important for us to be able to do date night. We went out to dinner, and my wife used my sister having a show as a pretense to get me out to the city.
Genius.
Because especially with everything going on, like COVID-wise, I haven't wanted to go to the city because the few times I've gone out in the city, I haven't enjoyed myself.
Okay.
So I didn't really want to go.
Right.
But because it was my sister, because my wife told me it was my sister, I was like, all right, let's go.
Right.
Ended up being a surprise birthday party.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Most of my close friends were there, so shout out to all you guys. That was phenomenal.
Right.
I was completely caught off guard, man.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people got that on video.
Yes.
Yeah. Your reaction was, man, you could be a great actor.
I wasn't acting.
I know, but I'm just saying your reaction was like, it was genuinely priceless. I was like, wow, look at this guy's presence right now.
I legitimately didn't sniff it even a little bit.
Yeah. we all, that's the best part about you never checking your phone.
I deserve that.
Yeah, because we all stopped sharing our location with Zach. It's just like, yo, stop sharing your location. Because when Zach goes to the city, sometimes he might reach out. Most of his people
That's my old move, yeah.
Yeah, check in with your people and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have pulled up the little locate my friend map. And,
And
then
you would have seen they right around the corner.
All these Negroes are congregated together where I'm going.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird.
Yeah. So shout out to Mrs. Jordan for making sure that was possible. That came together beautifully.
Shout out to my amazing wife. I knew there was a reason why I married you. So party, it was I'm not gonna say the place that it was at. Yeah,
a beautiful, intimate spot.
Really intimate. That's the definition of a grown and sexy club.
Yes.
That is what I've been looking for in my ladder.
Yeah, that's what I've been complaining about. I hate going to the spot where it's just a bunch of drunk 20-year-olds standing on their phone listening to all the ratchet music that you hear on the radio.
Like the last 2 or 3 times I've gone out, that's what it felt like.
Hated it.
I don't need to be here.
Hated that shit, bro.
But no, this was live music. Shout out Eric Hunter, aka Matthew Skills.
Right.
He was performing live last night, and everybody up there sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah,
that was absolutely incredible. That that enhanced the night. Like I was already in a good mood because I was around a bunch of my friends. Of course. We don't get together like we used to.
Not at all.
So being around everybody, that was super fucking dope. And then to top it off, there was amazing music behind it.
For sure.
We were dancing, vibing, having a good time. Like it was really perfect.
Right, for sure. I think the band's name was 427.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, for sure. You guys killed that. Y'all did that for real.
That was definitely top 2 birthdays, and it wasn't number 2.
Wow. Oh shit! Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's great, man. I'm glad we could do that and come together for that, man.
Absolutely.
Had a great time.
Yeah. No. So. Shout out to my wife, Sarah. You are phenomenal. I love you to death. That was incredible. I am surprised you were able to hold a secret because for those that know my wife,
she got big ass mouth.
Cannot hold water. And I was told she's been holding this for a month.
Yes, sir. About 3 weeks,
wow.
Man. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
So shout out to her. She did an amazing job. Shout out to everybody that was able to be there, even those that still show me love that weren't able to make it. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Really reminded me of how loved and blessed that I am. And
you need that reminder sometimes.
No, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. It also showed me how much I've been lacking, and I need to get back on my A game.
Being able to know what's going on.
You will never catch me sleeping like that ever again. I promise you. But that was a great job. That really was.
Great, man. Glad to hear it. Unfortunately, we do have to get into some sad news. It's been a little while. Anything that's been going on in the world, we've been somewhat staying away from, but this one is actually home. There was a Halloween party recently, and in Joliet's East Side, and it's about like 100 to maybe 200 people there, in a backyard, just partying, kicking it, blasting music, having a good time, doing what party people normally do. And I guess there was a back porch that kind of overlooked the party, and I guess 2 shooters came in and shot into the crowd. I believe they killed 2 people. Maybe 12 to 14 other people were injured. And it's unfortunate, man. This has been a constant thing. At least once a week, there's some type of shooting. Every city has crime, obviously, but you pay attention to that stuff when it's your hometown.
Yeah.
Because you want to know what's going on. Because, you know, sometimes you go link up with somebody, you go kick it. Yo, having so-and-so over here. There's people that you know. And you be like, yo, we kicking it over here. Okay, you go slide, unsuspecting, none the wiser. You think you just about to go pull up on some people that you kick it with.
Right.
And unfortunate things happen, man. So I want to send prayers to those families, to those that passed away, and to those that were injured. And y'all be careful out there, man. That's all I can ever say. Be careful out there.
No, definitely.
Know where you're going, and even if you know where you're going, pay attention to your surroundings. Have your protection with you, whatever that means to you. But yeah, prayers out to them, man.
Yeah. I know we don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it because of the type of topic that it is.
Yeah.
And it is so close to home, and I know that it does tug on some strings for people that a lot of people that listen to this pod, because a lot of people from the town do listen.
Right.
It is definitely sad. Absolutely prayers out to those affected by this. We as a community, we have to come together and figure something out. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Anything that can be done, I think at this point should be done.
Yeah.
Because unnecessary loss of life is never okay.
Ever.
Nobody should have to deal with that abrupt feeling of a loved one just not being there anymore.
Yeah.
Especially in those fashions.
Right.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
That's all I have for it. I know that this is a really touchy subject for as far as our viewership is concerned.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it really shifts how people are moving. Like,
absolutely.
It changes, like, you know, obviously when we were younger, we, you know,
invincible.
Yeah. And what you doing tonight? Oh shit, we had this party at so and so. It's like, oh shit, is it cool?
And we've both been at those kind of parties.
For sure. It's like, is it open invite? Yeah, I'm about to send you the location right now.
Yeah.
And then you pull up, you kick it.
You don't know nobody there.
You don't
really.
know. All you know is your man's and possibly somebody else, and then you bring in the rest of your squad as the night goes on. But
and everybody thinks, oh, we finna take over the spot. That shit don't always go the way you planned it is, because that kind of aggressive behavior, especially when alcohol is involved, can be taken a bunch of different ways and can yield results as such.
Yeah. So and you know, the world is still trying to recover, unfortunately. So everybody that was locked in, now we stepping out, and we're getting more comfortable with being out, but that ugliness and whatever was locked in, the ugly part of the world, that's still out there, and now it's still seemingly coming out in waves.
Yeah.
So,
and I also think people's guard is down because at this point we're still just happy to be outside of the house.
Exactly. So
all
I can say is please be careful. Watch your surroundings. Pay attention to who you're around, and protect yourself in whatever way that means to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, quick moment of silence for
absolutely
that. We'll do a quick.
All right. We got a few things to get in.
Let's shift the topic a little bit.
Yeah, let's shift the topic. You want to do the more so of the. All right, let's talk about the Ye interview. let's talk about the Ye interview.
I don't know who it was that sent me the first clip.
Okay.
Actually, I do know who it was. It was Josh.
Yeah. Shout out to
Sent
Josh.
me the first. No,
It wasn't him.
it was Dion.
D-Mob.
Because the first clip I seen was him talking about Sean.
Big Sean. And actually,
So let's do some context and then we get into it.
Okay. Kanye West gets on Drink Champs.
Phenomenal show.
Phenomenal show. Hosted by Nori and DJ FN. Artists come on this platform and speak openly and honestly. They play some type of drinking games to a degree, but it's actually been one of the top podcast, quote unquote, shows for a long time.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyable to watch if you ever want to hear some of the personal and behind the scene things with some of your favorite artists or people in general. Kanye West pulled up, probably Nori's biggest interview to date.
Which I won't argue that, but that's still crazy.
It is to a degree, but that's only because the Drake interview hasn't dropped yet.
Right.
Which I'm not sure if it will at this point.
It can.
Who? All right, yeah.
That interview's a year old now, right?
If it did indeed happen,
Okay.
you know, that's another thing. And it's like, honestly, more and more things keep coming out that kind of revolve around Drake to a degree.
To where just release it.
Yeah, you might as well release it at this point, or if you haven't, it's going to be time for a new interview.
Yeah.
But Kanye West was himself. I haven't seen that Ye in a really, really long time. To the point that's why I've always been off Ye, because I haven't seen that Ye in a really long time, in my opinion.
Yes.
But
I will agree with you that was Ye.
okay.
But at the same time, it is where the impulsive say literally what is on your mind at the moment.
Right.
Like that's cool sometimes.
Sometimes, okay.
And I know not everybody, like, especially when it comes to celebrities, is like, no, I don't want them to be politically correct. I don't want them to be real and honest and truthful and all that other shit.
Right.
There's still some shit that shouldn't be said in a public setting, man.
I agree with you. Now here's my thought process on this. Usually whenever Ye gets to talking, his brain is moving at 1,000 miles a minute, and it's hard to follow sometimes.
It's hard for him to articulate what he's thinking.
Yeah, true. But I don't think some people do, but not everyone thinks that it's just BS that he's up there talking about. If you pay attention, there are definitely some gems in there. And they come from a place of, like, he's at a very high status.
For sure.
The people that he was mentioning himself be around are people that we could never even think about getting 1,000 miles close to.
Some of those people you've never even heard of.
Exactly.
And it's for a reason.
Yeah, they're ghosts in this world.
Yeah.
But he was talking about some very deep things. But back to the Big Sean thing. He came out and said basically Big Sean was one of the worst decisions he ever made.
It's the worst signing he ever made. That's what he said.
And that was really hard for me to take. I was offended, personally.
Yeah.
And maybe he's speaking business wise.
I don't think he's speaking business wise. I think he's speaking ego wise.
Okay.
And this is where we have to have this conversation with people, because just because you do business with somebody does not mean you have to agree with them.
True. That's usually, sometimes that's the best business. I don't always agree with you on maybe personal things or things outside of, as long as we agree on business. Mm-hmm. If the goal is mutual in business, then we straight.
Absolutely.
So
like I can. Let me not say that. Trying to avoid getting canceled. At
Okay.
Point, so, but no, I think he was upset that that Sean and to some extent Push did not support his campaign run.
yeah, John Legend was one of those people.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was John Legend.
Yeah.
He was upset that they did not support his campaign run.
Yeah, so it was more so of an emotional response in that. Yeah, you're right. But yeah.
Because you can't tell me John Legend is one of your worst signings ever.
Nah.
Shut up.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't say that. You can't say that. But even so with Big Sean is still, I still consider Big Sean the top 5. We always talk about the big 3. There's a top 5.
Yeah, and Sean falls into that 5. You could argue if he's 4 or 5, but he definitely falls into
between him and Wale.
Yes.
And every single one of these artists is on a major run. Everyone has stepped up in a major way. You know me, I got to get into the music thing just a smidge.
Oh, for sure.
But all of those artists have come back. They've gone quiet for a while and they've bounced back, and now they're on an amazing run, putting out great music, being seen everywhere.
They're always in constant competition, but we always know they're still the top 3.
Yeah, yeah, true.
And unfortunately, Sean and Wale have not been able to supplant any of those 3 in taking that spot.
True.
But they've always been able to stay busy enough to where there's like, no, I'm still worth mentioning in it.
Yeah, of course, 1,000%.
With that being said, there's no way from a business standpoint that Big Sean was a bad signing.
And I don't see how it is. So obviously that was probably more of an emotional response.
Yeah.
Ye also, if we're gonna stay in the whole music realm, Ye also spoke about Just Blaze in somewhat of a, I guess you could say, negative light if you're looking from an outside perspective. Mm-hmm. He was basically saying, Nori was asking him, they play a game where he has to pick 2 people that are major in the industry that Kanye has worked with or been close to at one point. And Nori asked him, Swiss Beats or Just Blaze. Now, from my generation, Just Blaze is, and along with Swiss Beats, but even more so for me, Just Blaze is a legendary producer.
For sure.
Without question. And they worked together very closely when it came to working with Hove and Rockefeller in general.
And the height
of when Rockefeller was becoming the biggest thing on the planet.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. He was basically saying, it's like, no, I definitely, between Swiss Beats and Just Blaze, I got to go with Swiss Beats because he basically copied my style and got credit for the blueprint, but I produced the first half of it. And I don't know enough about that. But after that, he was saying, it was like, basically, I mean, you got to look at where Just Blaze is and then look where I'm at. And that sounded a little bit more like ego in there as well.
And this is what I'm talking about.
This is what offsets all of the great positive gems that he'll be giving in the interview.
Kanye West is full of ego.
1,000%.
I don't think anybody will argue and say that he isn't.
Ever.
Now, some people like the ego.
Right.
And people will say, well, yeah, he's right. Look at where he's at compared to where Just Blaze is.
Of course.
Just Blaze never wanted a career like the one that Kanye West has.
At all.
So you can always make that. You got to bring that in there as well.
Right. Did you see his response to it?
No, I did not.
His response was very classy.
As it should have been.
Yeah, and that's really just the type of guy that he is. But it was very positive, and it was just like, hey, I'm happy for Kanye. I'm glad that he got to where he wanted to be. I'm very happy in my life. I wish him nothing but the best overall.
And this is realistically, this is what has kept Kanye out of really big trouble, is because most of the people that he's taking shots at, he knows aren't going to fire back. There are a few exceptions that will.
Right.
But you look at the people that he shoots at. He's taking shots at Jay-Z.
Yes.
Jay-Z's not going to address that publicly ever.
At all. He did address the Big Sean thing, though. The Big Sean, I think it was either the Big Sean or the Just Blaze thing. I think it was more so the Just Blaze thing.
Jay did?
Hove has been active on the internet. Jay-Z got an Instagram. Jay-Z was on Twitter Spaces.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yes.
Is it Hove? Because I know it ain't Jay-Z.
Oh, it's gone.
Of course.
We we ran home the fuck right off of Instagram. He was like, "Wait, this what y'all be doing?" No, I'm out.
Like, I'm good.
I'm out. But he was on Twitter Spaces, and they asked him about that, and he basically said it was a little unfair of what Kanye said. And
it was.
And yeah. And
I mean, to anybody that's really thinking about this critically, of course it was.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see him just kind of slightly address that. But to your point of Kanye being able to speak about people that you're close to, and I think I want to slightly shift this another way. How do you feel about it when you can talk about your people and you might say it publicly or somebody else, but how do you feel like that works when it comes to people that you're close to?
I don't like it. I do not like if you have any sort of issue with me and you're going to go to a public platform and speak on it.
Right.
You should speak to me about it first.
And okay, so question, what if you have?
If you have and we haven't resolved it, then how close are we?
Okay.
One.
Okay.
And two, there's still, like, if we are close, if we are friends, there's still a level of respect there.
Yeah.
So for you to basically come out and say, yeah, he copied everything I did. I don't know why he got credit and I didn't.
Right.
But you look at where he is compared to where I am. So clearly, like, I'm right and he's wrong.
Yeah.
You don't say that about people you're close with.
Okay. I get, and I support you on that. Maybe just to bring it on a smaller level, whenever I've had issues with, if let's say that we have a friend group, right?
Do.
All right, cool.
Multiple.
Let's say that me and you have a personal issue, and other people in the friend group have noticed it, right? But me and you have addressed it.
Are we talking hypothetical still? Or?
I promise you, hypothetical.
Okay.
No, we've not.
I'm not talking about you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I got you.
Yeah.
But me and you have addressed it, but other people on the squad have noticed it, and they might ask you separately, and they might ask me separately. Mm-hmm. I'm very big on, even if whatever it is that I'm going to say, and I'm not going to just say it to anybody, but if we have a friend group and one friend asks me about the situation, I'm going to say however I feel about the situation.
Of course.
But it's never going to be something that you haven't heard.
Of course.
That's usually my stance on that.
Here's the difference.
Okay.
You are talking to another friend about it in private.
Okay.
There is not cameras on. There's not millions of people that are going to watch it.
I got you. And I was trying to bring it to, right. I was trying to bring it somewhat to a smaller level.
No, yeah. And on a smaller level, yeah, that makes sense. That's perfectly fine. Those kind of conversations happen on a regular basis.
Right.
But again, you got to realize there's celebrity involved. There is always eyes watching.
For sure.
And especially in a room that is got, $1 million production team associated with it.
1,000%.
Like,
yeah,
guess what, Kanye? You don't have creative control about what gets out and what doesn't. This is Drink Champs.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
this is gonna go
bro.
out.
He's like, look, man, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Nah, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But guess what?
It's out there now.
Hey, that clip that's gonna go out
Is that
right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that even to another point, that was the main clip, obviously, because you got to get that stuff out to bring attention to the interview. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You need something that's going to be clickbaitish.
Realistically, with Kanye West, you don't ever really need to do that because if you have Kanye West for longer than 5 minutes doing an interview,
he's going
to say something.
You're going to definitely
he can't stay in control for that long.
That's true.
So yeah, no, I completely disagree with the way he decided to go about people that were once close friends to him. However, the regard is, because at the end of the day, there should still be respect. Now, if you've completely fallen out, you've completely fallen out. So be it.
Right.
But just as he says, look at where Just Blaze is compared to where I am. Yeah. Look at Just Blaze's response compared to yours.
Exactly. And it seems like majority of the people that have been around Kanye or are around Kanye, they move that way. And he just kind of just does and says whatever he might feel like.
And that's also why people have started to distance themselves. That's the reason why Jay and Beyonce don't spend as much time as around Ye. Right. They hadn't spent time with Ye for years.
That's a fact. Sean did respond after that, even before the actual episode was available. But when the clip dropped, Big Sean posted a picture of him and Hit Boy standing with Kanye right after the interview. And he was like, wow, that's crazy. We just it was like, wow, that's crazy. We just saw you after the interview. He didn't say any of this to me. And then Big Sean was like, man, I can't wait to get on Drink Champs. So I'm sure that's not the last that we'll hear of it. And that'll be a very interesting conversation.
But that's what I'm talking about, though. Like, I just seen you.
Yeah.
I just seen you.
Yep.
And this is, you talking about me like this behind my back, but you smiled in my face.
Exactly. And
you smiled in my face.
That's
You,
the shit,
you little bro'd me after you said this shit to me.
Yeah,
Bro, don't you ever call me little bro again.
That's offensive.
I smacked the teeth out your mouth.
That's offensive, man. Don't ever do that. The least you could have done is, hey, man, when I was up there, dog, I just told him how I really felt about you, fam. Like, at least get ahead of it. But at the same point in time, when you're...
But that's also part of his ego. He really thought, it's like, all right, Sean gonna see this and it's whatever.
Right.
No, nigga.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're moving like that and you're in rooms with Elon Musk and political leaders and you 9 billion up, I guess you don't really care about stuff like that.
All right, man. When you roaming through Detroit and you hear somebody say, what up, though?
Fair enough.
I've been on all the drive.
Right. The Drake thing got tapped into a lot.
All right, I'm going to say it now because I know the rest of the world feels this way.
Okay.
We're tired of it.
Yeah, it's old. But did you understand why he was saying that? Because all of the behind the scene things, the things that Drake doesn't always necessarily get penalized for. Kanye West is very out in the open and very blunt and big with all the things that's going on. So he's going to look crazy.
Do you know why Drake doesn't get penalized for it?
Because he's quiet about it.
Exactly.
I get you, but it was still nice to hear the behind the scenes part about it. It was the same thing with the Pusha T interview. When Pusha came out there, he was just saying, it's like, nah, bro, y'all don't know about all these things behind the scenes. So it's like when you were so offended by what I said, nigga.
It's the petty jabs. It's the little petty jabs that the world will never know about. And that's what Drake is phenomenal at.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Shit that is like, all right, unless you're willing to tell on yourself, you're not going to tell on me.
Yeah, you're right. He does have some good war tactics.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's as petty as
the Prince of Petty.
Yeah, I got you.
He is the Prince of Petty. Yes, he is one of the leaders of the Scorpio regime.
Salute your leader.
It ain't my leader. I chose a different path.
I heard.
But yeah, no. But part of the reason why Drake doesn't get quote unquote penalized is because he does all this shit lurking in the shadows, and he will never talk about it publicly unless he has to.
Very true. Very true.
And even then, he rarely talks publicly.
Yeah, that's true. All right,
you get a Kanye West interview every 6 months. I just want everybody to realize that.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it's that's his marketing. That is how he stays in the light. There's going to be something around him that's always going to bring him to the forefront, and he still wants to be considered the top. He wants to be considered the leader.
Who is he leading currently? That's my question. Realistically, who is he leading currently?
I can't speak to that specifically. I think the way that Kanye West speaks is obviously a million leagues above my bracket, but not just financially, but mentality wise. He sounds like he's trying to create. He's always in the future, like the future.
For sure.
He's always been that way.
And before we go any further, let me answer my own question. There is a such thing as a generation known as the Kanye kids, so I do get that standpoint of it.
Right.
But I do think even some of those are kind of looking at him a little bit and saying, love the music.
Yeah, because we're getting more antics than we're getting those gems that he's dropping. Yeah. And I think he knows that he's not necessarily allowed to. Like, that's all he kept saying the whole interview. He's like, man, they're going to kill me for this. But guess what? It's still going out.
He is still to some degree Teflon.
Yeah. Especially when you 9 up.
Yeah.
When you 9 up. It's just like, yeah. I mean, what can they do besides try to slow his money up? And when you get to that level, there's just different battles that I'm sure that he's dealing with that none of us could ever see.
So I didn't see the entire interview, and I'm going to go back and watch all of it just because it's entertaining.
Okay.
In this interview, because I saw this online, that he had sent a group text to like...
It was Hove, Drake, Kim Kardashian. I think Virgil might have been in there, and there was somebody else who has some solid money in life.
I think it was Push.
Yeah, Push. Yeah, Push was in there too, and he was basically saying, "It's like, look, man, I got more money than all of y'all combined." To summarize,
first off, Kanye, that's pocket counting.
It's
pocket watching, but
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do that,
Right.
especially at your level.
Yeah, true.
And two, you're wrong. You may know it's in Kim's account. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, he said he brought her to $1 billion, so I mean, he might be aware of that. I don't think he knows what's in Jay's account.
He brought it to $1 billion, or did she bring him to $1 billion?
He's saying that it's him. That's the thing. A lot of things behind the scenes were things that we didn't necessarily know about Kanye.
Kanye West was screaming how he was in debt, and Kim saved him.
That is what we know. That is what we know, and that seems to be what happened.
That is what he told us.
True.
So if we're taking the same person at face value,
Right?
Kim brought you to $1 billion.
True. But at the same point in time, Ye was talking about certain scenarios where Kim was listening to certain people in her circle and it wasn't necessarily working out for her benefit. And then he was speaking to when she started listening to him on certain things started to blossom. At least that's what I gathered.
I would like to hear Kim's response on that.
I might too, but again, you're dealing with a bunch of people who might not necessarily speak on.
Oh yeah, no, that's the crazy. Yeah. The crazy part is that the only person that's willing to have that conversation about who has the most money,
right,
is Kanye.
True.
Jay-Z's probably looking at us like, you don't know what I got.
That's the one that was just like, you don't. What's on paper is on paper.
Jay-Z's looking like, you don't know what I got.
Yeah.
Drake is looking like,
you don't know what I got. Yeah, that's true.
And Push is looking like every time they say ba da 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 da, I get paid. So.
Yeah, that's true, man. So there might have been some truth to it, but that's a wild text to get off to all of those different people. That's a wild text to get off.
And again, ego. Like, why, that text message don't got to go out for mine.
Yeah, true.
What are we doing?
Very true. But you had that Henny Ye, man. Henny Ye is different. Henny Ye is going to come up there and tell you some things that you didn't necessarily know.
I miss Ian J. Ye.
Fair enough. I like Henny Ye, though. Because it's a whole lot different from the person that we've been seeing. It had me off him for a minute.
Well, that was mental health concern, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But I guess we can somewhat slide out of that. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
I want to touch on this now because I don't think by the time we get to the next episode, it's going to be too late. So
okay.
I want to touch on this one thing.
Okay.
The Facebook.
Meta.
Two things. I want to laugh at them real quick.
Why?
There's already a company that exists called Meta.
But is it Facebook Meta?
No, because Facebook did not name it Facebook Meta. They just named it Meta.
Okay.
So for those that do not know, Facebook did a very Google thing, and they created a parent company that is going to house all the companies and businesses that they house. We all still know it as Facebook. That's the main shell of it.
Of course.
But this group, this bigger group is called Meta, basically to represent the verse that they're trying to create, the space where they're more or less, Facebook just wants all your data.
Yeah.
They probably already have it, but they want more of it.
Yeah.
So,
quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think this has anything to do with the recent whistleblower situation? Excuse me. Them going to court a lot about the data that they have taken, the facial recognition thing, all of that information. Do you
think it does because, one, you know that Facebook is going to stop using facial recognition on their platform.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
Well, they'll stop using it. They'll stop using it to the point that we see it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the bigger issue.
Yeah. They said they were going to stop using it altogether, but they'll still have it in the background, and we all know that.
Of course.
Nobody trusts Facebook.
Yeah.
On either side of the line, I don't think anybody trusts Facebook.
I agree
realistically,
with you, right?
But I don't think that this whole parent company of Meta is going to save the changes that are trying to be made, because I think they did it because, for those of you that do not know, Google has a parent company.
Okay.
It is called the Alphabet Company.
Interesting.
And this company owns, obviously, YouTube.
Right.
Google.
Right.
Waze, for those that do not know, that Waze is owned by Google.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble. Why I don't want Google to have my data? It still does.
Too late. Yeah. They all got our shit, man.
Yeah, there is a multitude of companies that are owned by the Alphabet Company, so it doesn't sit under that Google shell.
Right.
But it's still Google.
Right.
Like, it's still the CEOs of Google.
Right.
that run the Alphabet Company. It's one of the most powerful companies in the entire world.
Wow.
and nobody knows his name. And this is what Zuckerberg is trying to achieve with Meta, but the difference is that he made a big ass announcement about it, and it's just not gonna go. It's not gonna work the same way.
Okay.
I actually watched a review. I don't know if you've seen them. The Ray-Ban Facebook glasses.
Yeah.
They look great.
Okay.
They look like they work really well.
Okay.
We'll never buy them.
Why? What do they do?
So they have cameras on both sides.
Ah, okay, yeah.
They have cameras on both sides. You can actually post directly to your story,
right,
and things of that nature.
So essentially, we're stepping into a complete digital world. Basically, like we're gonna be spending more time, or some people are gonna be spending more time living, essentially in the internet.
Absolutely. So I think you remember when Google had like the Google glasses,
yeah,
like a few years ago,
yeah,
and it looked like super sci-fi.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the advancement of that,
right?
Because
simplified version.
I mean, these look like classic Ray-Bans,
right?
They just so happen to have on the outer end of the lens 2 really small cameras,
right? That
if you're looking for them, you can see them, but if somebody's just wearing them out and about and you're not really paying attention to it,
yeah,
they just look like regular Ray-Bans.
You think we're moving into that world where it's just going to be when you get home from work and you get on Facebook, you're basically going to be sitting down, putting on your glasses, and stepping into that digital world?
For some, not me.
Yeah, I think I'm off that shit.
I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah,
but yeah. No, I think for some, that's exactly where it's going to get to.
That's kind of scary, and it's very interesting to see this stuff happening in real time, and we're seeing, because we're in it, we're seeing it in small little steps.
We were complaining about, man, where are the flying cars? What all the stuff that was in Back to the Future? Where is it?
Where's the Jetsons?
It's coming.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
But careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah, all of those things that you think might be security or a more enjoyable and live-like experience could very well become a way of life. And I don't think people considering the consequences of it.
I mean, it's giving up your own personal security for convenience.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we've all been susceptible to some degree.
Right.
But it just gets more and more intrusive on your privacy.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yeah, I think I'm cool on that shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it a buck with you.
No, likewise.
All right.
I'm with you.
Fuck it. I think that's all that we got for the moment, man.
For sure.
We can close this thing out. This has been another episode of the
Gentlemen's Club Podcast.
That's because the note didn't hit the same?
I missed. And I can't edit that out.
Okay. Hey, it is what it is, man. We'll be back, though.